Once you have your phrases copied and pasted, your sections created, and your A, B, A, B, C, B, B form laid out, the last steps in creating a song is to add what we call an intro at the beginning and an outro at the end. Let's start with the outro. The purpose of the outro is to bring the song to an end that sounds good. We don't want the song to really just stop when we get to the end. For example, like this. And it just stops. So, what we're going to do is first I'm going to zoom in a little bit here at the end. Now, if you take your cursor and you float it over a region, you'll see this region edit button pop up. Click on edit and then select fade out. When I do that, you may notice that you get this shaded line at the end. So I'm going to do this to all three tracks. Edit, fade out, edit, fade out. So what happens now, as you approach the end, the DAW will gradually turn the volume down so the song just fades away instead of just suddenly ending. Much nicer. I'll also point out that if you put your cursor in the region, you may notice at the top of the fade out is a little circle. You can click on that circle and make the fade out longer or make the fade out shorter. I'll try to make it longer, so it's going to start sooner and fade out a little slower. Let's listen to this. So that's how you add a fade out. Pause the video now, go to your song, and add a fade out at the end. After you add the fade out as an outro, the next thing we're going to do is add an intro, an introduction to the song. So first, I'm going to zoom out so I can see all of the regions. So the intro is going to happen at the beginning of the song. So the first thing we have to do if we're going to add an intro is to make room for it at the beginning. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click and drag across the entire song so that I have all of these regions selected. Then if I click on one and drag to the right, I can move the entire song around. Most intros are either 4 or 8 bars long. I'm going to move this over to the number 9 to create 8 bars at the beginning. Pause the video now, select all of the regions, click and drag to the right to move them over and make room for the intro. Creating an intro is one of the most fun and creative parts of this project for me. An introduction is something that you want to grab people's attention and make them want to listen to your song. So first, let's go over to the loop library. I'm going to click on the X to clear the search bar, and then I'm going to click on SFX. SFX is an abbreviation for sound effects, and Soundtrap has a big library of what they call sound effects. To narrow it down a little bit, I would suggest searching these terms. First, let's type in drop. Once I type in drop, it's going to bring up these bass drops and synth drops. And these sound something like this. And some of those may be a little difficult to hear because the sound is really low. So those are the drops. And let's also type in build up. Put a space in there. And these are your build-ups. So there's a lot of different build-up sounds. Next, I'm going to type in dubstep. So those are some pretty interesting sounds. And then last, I'm going to try vocal. And the vocal sound effects are actually vocals.
Hear me now. What?
Okay. Miss it up.
Okay, so there's a lot of cool, interesting things here. So I'm going to try to use some of these to create an intro for the song. So I'm going to start with dubstep. So if I want to use this, I'm going to double click, and Soundtrap's going to add this at the bottom. So I'm going to click on the track header and move it up and turn that on. In front of that, let me see if I can find a drop. We'll try this one. So I'm going to move this up. Let's see what this sounds like together. Alright. Now I'm going to search for a vocal.
Watch me now. What? Boom.
So if I want to add a vocal, I'm going to drop this in, move this up, but I'm going to zoom in so I can see this a little better, I think. And I'm actually going to move this up into this region, or this track. And I can also repeat this, so I'm going to zoom in some more. Use my Option key. Actually, I'm just move this here, and then I'm going to overlap these. And then let's see what that sounds like. Okay, and then I think I'll go with a Watch Me Now. Now another option you have is you can click on these loops and drag them directly into a track. So
Watch me now.
okay. Now, there's tons of other stuff to explore, so this is just one example. But once I do that, let me zoom out. I could now come back to, say, my drum track. I'll click my Option key, click and drag. And just like we did at the end where we added a fade out, I can actually add a fade in. And I'm going to just make this fade in happen a little faster. And let's see what all this sounds like when I put it together.
Watch me now.
So that's kind of cool, but you know, I can continue dropping these effects in. As it comes, there's others in here Let's see.
Yeah.
I'll drop some yeahs in there. So again, I'm going to use my zoom in. So I'm going to use my option key. Option. And let's find a boom. No, how about a drop? Yeah, we'll try that. All right. Let's see what we have now.
Watch me know. Watch me know. Watch me know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so there you go. So now you have, something interesting at the beginning of the song to kind of grab people's attention. That is how you add an intro and an outro to your song. So go back and rewatch any of this that you need to. And I hope you have fun and that you create something creative for your intro and the outro for your song, which should bring your project to an end.